What's going on, everyone? Philly Insider here. A big win tonight. Obviously, not the way you want to beat the Rockies, considering that they may be the worst team in baseball or the second worst team in baseball. I think that's fair to say right now, not just off a record. But the Phillies got to win regardless, and you got to be happy with that. It was a walk-off win tonight. Pache got it done. I love that he was aggressive early in the count. He takes the first pitch into right field, 97 in on the hands, a sinker, and he just gets his hands inside, gets the barrel to it, and shoots it the other way. That's what you love to see. Gotta love that the Phillies played some small ball there too. Bohm had a pretty hard ground out that, I guess it wasn't that hard. It was 85. I don't know. It looked a little bit harder on the broadcast. Maybe that was because Bohm really hasn't been hitting the baseball very hard at all, and maybe I was just hoping it was that was the case. I don't know. But regardless, Whit Merrifield gets a really good bunt down the at bat before that. First pitch of the at bat, not necessarily the ideal pitch to bunt on, and he lays down a beautiful bunt. They play some small ball. They get him to third. They get Pache, or not Pache. They get Bryson Stott to third base, and then Pache does that. I'm pretty sure it was in on the hands too. Yeah, it was in the zone, but really good job by Pache, man. I mean, that was an awesome at bat there. Again, like I said, not really an at bat even. It was just an awesome piece of hitting in the one pitch he did damage with. So love what he's doing there. As far as this game goes, guys, I mean, look, Nola was incredible. Anything else would have been a disappointment given that this Rockies lineup is really, really poor. I mean, there are some guys who are solid and can hit. Obviously they've had some guys in the past, like Nolan Jones isn't hitting well this year, but we've seen him hit well in the past. Homecoming for him today. Interesting storyline there, I guess. But point being, I mean, they really didn't do much against Knowles tonight. And it was good for Nola to just do what he was supposed to do. No funny business, nothing out of the ordinary for him. So you got to love what he was doing today. 7 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk. I mean, really didn't let that many runners get on base. He really didn't get in that many jams, if any. And he had 9 strikeouts. Obviously, he gave up the solo shot, which was not ideal. He would rather that not happen, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. It's going to happen from time to time, even if it's not, someone who probably should be giving up a solo shot to. I mean, if y'all remember in Nola's major league debut, he gave up a home run to, I want to say it was Erasmo Ramirez, maybe. I honestly couldn't even tell you. I forget. He didn't get run support in classic fashion and also just rebuild fashion. But point being, like, obviously there's just going to be some oddities that happen from time to time. So I'm not saying the home run was an oddity. He probably could have made a better pitch, but regardless, I mean, still a really good start for Knowles tonight. I mean, I thought he was awesome. I'm really curious now what happened in Knowles' debut. He was against, I know it was against the Rays. That's for sure. Man, I wish I could find it on here. I'll find it eventually. But regardless, y'all, bullpen did their job tonight, too. Alvarado comes in, gets 2 quick outs. Then you have Hoffman come in. That was dicey. Through a couple concerning pitches there, wild pitches, pass balls. It happened. And, yeah, JT's having a little bit of a rough time lately. Now, granted, again, it's not all on him. He didn't get credited with the pass ball tonight, but he has had some of those lately. But the one that was the play that ended up being the play at home plate, yeah, that was definitely a wild pitch. Great play by JT, catches it in the air, little shovel pass to Hoffman at home plate. And I think I saw a lot of people tweeting out that it was a nice goal line stand by Hoffman. And yeah, that's honestly what it looked like. He was at the goal line as the linebacker waiting for the running back to meet him in the A gap. And I mean, granted, I'm sure they both weren't really looking forward to that collision, but Hoffman stands strong, was not obstructing home plate, nothing of that. Or like, I don't think he got interference or anything like that. He wasn't blocking home plate. That's the word I was looking for. And thankfully, Kyle Freeland's foot popped up, and he was. I mean, there was no way they were going to overturn that. I thought his foot popped up, and then the way it looked on the replay, you could probably argue Hoffman was tagging him by the time it got back down. In real time, I thought he was safe, so it might have been one of those things where it just depended on what happened what the call was on the field. But that being said, Hoffman gets out of that inning. It was dicey. Sir Anthony, he gave up some contact, some decent contact too, but end of the day, again, he puts a 0 up on the board. Actually went 1, 2, 3. So, that is what it is. I still don't think Sir Anthony looks like himself right now, but I'm fine with what he did tonight. So, yeah, the lineup's still disappointing again. I'm really not going to go into it with them. 1 run. I mean, come on, guys. This is the Colorado Rockies. Also, on that Hoffman note, really weird that the Rockies were pinch running Kyle Freeland. I don't know what that was about. Teach their own, I guess. I really don't know what to say about that. Really odd decision there. But the lineup, once again, was lifeless tonight. And they end up with 6 hits. Before Pache's walk-off, they end up with 5. I don't know what else to say about them other than that's really discouraging. I was hoping for more out of them tonight against a Rockies team that you're going to get opportunities and pitches to hit, and you're going to get mistakes here and there. So we got Drew in here. Welcome in, Drew. Good to see you.
What's going on?
I'm just talking about the fact that this offense once again was lifeless in a game where they really shouldn't have been. And I mean, look, I know Quantrill has pitched MLB games before. I understand that, but 6 hits and one of them was the Pache walk-off. So 5 hits through 9, not good enough, Drew. But that being said, I already talked about Pache, really good piece of hitting there. I talked about the Hoffman play too, which was just wild. And I talked about Knowles a little bit. So, and the bullpen as a whole, but let me get your thoughts on the game and your reaction to what went down tonight.
Honestly, I was at a family thing, so I wasn't watching 100%, but I mean, I was tuning in a little bit. Nola, he was obviously dominant tonight, so that was really good to see from him because he's had some tough outings to start the season. But I mean, his conditions he's been pitching in have been not ideal for the most part, so it's good to see him have a normal outing and normal weather.
Absolutely, yeah. And just wanted to get your thoughts. Were you able to tune in for the last couple innings where Hoffman had that play at home plate? Did you end up seeing that?
I saw it, but I was not watching at the time.
Yeah,
it's crazy play.
Yeah, don't know why Kyle Freeland was the pinch runner there for the
Kyle
Rockies.
Freeland.
Yes, that's who was the pinch runner.
What?
Opening day starter was pinch running the bases, and not only that, they sent him home on that play. He actually really looked like he really hurt his elbow. Now, he was good enough to where he was able to go back out there and tell the umpire his thoughts on their call even after they reviewed it. And I always feel bad in that situation is look, I'm never going to be one to stick up for the umpires, but they don't have control over what they call in New York. I mean, whatever they decide upon at the end of the day, that's out of their control. But I was also saying I can understand the frustration because the call that they made on the field, that's one of those plays where the call was just probably going to stand regardless of what it was because it was really hard to see even on the replay. I thought his foot popped up, and maybe you could argue Hoffman had the tag by then. But either way, I think the way they called it, there was no way they could overturn it at that point. But crazy play.
Yeah, I didn't see the part where they were reviewing it and see all the slow-mos and stuff, but just from the original video, it looked like it was out. So
yeah.
Yeah,
and then I do love on a night where they, granted, while I'm frustrated about the offense, I love on a night where they weren't able to produce anything. They play small ball in the 9th or the 10th inning, and Witt gets a really good bunt down, not the easiest pitch to bunt on. A beautiful bunt. I mean, it was a perfect bunt. I really have no complaints about that. Gets it done third base line. They almost didn't get it out. I mean, the third baseman hesitated for a hot second there, but Stock gets a third. Bohm, it wasn't hit super hard, but it was harder than he's been hitting some of the baseballs lately. So, it is what it is. I mean, he put the ball in play. There's a chance that it gets through, but not the best result that you want there. That being said, though, Pache, I mean, he gets a 97-mile-an-hour sinker in on the hands, and it was in the zone, but in on the hands, and I like it. He's aggressive on the first pitch. He's attacking, and he gets his hands inside, and he gets the barrel around to it, and he shoots it the other way. I mean, that's a textbook piece of hitting there. You get the barrel to the baseball, even if it's coming in at 97, you're going to be able to shoot it the other way, and there's a good chance it's going to find a hole for a hit. So love what he did in that last at bat there.
Yeah, that's a perfect approach. I mean, that's exactly what you want to do with that ball. You just kind of inside out it and just shoot it the other way and hope good things happen. I mean, putting the ball in play is number one,
Yes.
No matter what. I mean, that's something the Phillies offense struggles to do at times. So it's definitely a nice little change.
Yeah, it is. And
you can't expect Bohm to come through every single time you put him in there like that, and especially when he didn't play all day. So
yeah, right. And the other thing I'll say too is you already had an out, so you don't want to get deep into that count and then run the risk of striking out, and then you're now sitting with a guy on third and 2 outs and potentially going to the 11th inning. So I like that Pache jumped on him early and just went up there, put the first pitch in play. Look, I mean, I think it was his second hit of the season, but first walk-off hit of his career. I mean, he has taken advantage of every little opportunity he's gotten. The first game he played this year, obviously he hit I think he had 2 at-bats, didn't do anything in them. But regardless, I mean, you're not going to come through every single time, especially if you're not in a rhythm. But considering the hand he's been dealt, I feel like he's just done everything they've asked him to. And he needs to play more. I mean, I don't think that's up for debate. I think he has to play more. I get it. You do want to let Rojas, you don't want to give him a short leash, but we talked about this a couple podcasts ago, Drew. At least versus lefties, Pache needs to play every single day. And that's just how I feel at this point. I know it's one hit, it's one walk-off hit. It's a big moment, though. And I know he had the one hit the other day. It's just he's had 5 at-bats, but that's also the point is he's had 5 at-bats. He's not gotten any opportunities to prove himself. And I wasn't even one of those people who was campaigning for him to start over Rojas after spring because, I understand it's spring. I didn't want to jump the gun on that. And I'm not saying to play him over him right now. I'm just saying he's got to play more than he's playing at the current moment because Whit Merrifield isn't doing anything in his time so far outside of the one bunt he got down tonight. So I'm going to keep saying that until one of them gives me a reason to change my mind. Look, Whit is a veteran. He needs to be better in those spots. And I think there's a good chance he will be, but I don't know. I mean, I just, I feel bad for him because he's taken advantage of every single chance he's gotten.
Yeah, and Witt's kind of done the opposite. I mean, he's not taking advantage of every opportunity he gets. So, I mean, he had the good bunt tonight, which is huge in the extra innings. But, I mean, outside of that, I mean, he just hasn't done anything with the bat. And he's not hitting the ball hard, which he hasn't done in the past couple seasons. But, I mean, at some point, the balls are going to start to fall in for him. But, I mean, he's a contact hitter. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But, I mean, a lot of BABIP luck, and it's just not going his way yet. I mean, I'm sure he'll turn around and be a fine bench piece down the line. So I'm not really worried about him long term yet. I mean, we'll have to see what happens here in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah, and again, it's a 2-week sample size. I mean,
Yeah, and he's not playing every day, and he's a guy that played every day before.
Yeah. So. Again, there's plenty of guys who people are heralding as all-stars, 2 weeks in. And do I love Tyler O'Neill? I sure do, but I mean, he's not an all-star after just 2 weeks performance. Now, do I wish he was on the Phillies right now? Yes, but that's a different conversation. So had to bring him up.
Looks like he might be hurt now.
Yeah, he got in that collision today, unfortunately. So that's always been the problem with him. But it sucks when it happens that way because it's like, well, Tyler O'Neill has had injury issues, but that's not necessarily on him. I didn't watch the play, but
today was not his fault.
Right. It's one of those things that just happens. It's not like it's a hamstring thing or like his body breaking down or having issues. So anyway, that's a side conversation, but feel bad for the guy. He's had a really awesome start to the season. I think he's got 7 home runs right now. So the dude is absolutely raking, but I don't know, man. I mean, I thought the bullpen was pretty good tonight. They did their job. Hoffman was a little bit shaky, honestly, but they've been fine. I mean, they really have done their job lately.
Great job by Sir Anthony as well.
Yep. I mean, he gave up some contact, some decent contact, but he got out of it at the end of the day is what I left it at. But I didn't really even want to go into detail with the lineup today because there's only so much.
You just got to be better.
Right. Yeah. There's only so much you can take away when the team just completely falls flat on a night where there's no reason they should be against the Rockies pitching staff.
They should be scoring close to 30 runs in this 3-game series. I mean, the Rockies are terrible. They are so bad. I mean, there's the reason they have 4 wins. I mean, there's just no excuse. They should sweep this series. They should sweep the next series, and they should be ahead of the Braves come the end of this week. So
you should go 5-1. I mean, at the very least. But I will say, on the positive note, it was good to see Stott get going a little bit tonight. He gets on base 3 times, comes around to score, obviously on the walk-off, but he also swipes a bag when he's on base too. I mean, he was trying to make things happen tonight, and unfortunately, we get Stott back to hitting, and no one else hits, so it didn't really end up mattering too much. But especially because the one time he comes around to score was the 10th inning when he was just on second base because that was the one at bat he got out, and he was the last guy to get out in the last inning. So he didn't even come around to score because of his efforts necessarily. He deserved a run tonight. I mean, I'll give him that. He was awesome. And I mean, look, Turner was only the 1 for 4, but between yesterday and today, I'm glad that some things are starting to go his way. He gets a double tonight. Yesterday, he obviously looked very good. The home run was a great piece of hitting. And again, like he's hitting 299 right now with a 768 OPS. That's way better than what he was probably at this point last year. So, and we've said it, like he's looked better even when there's been when he's had at bats that have ended in outs. A lot of them have still looked better. So he looks fine right now. So those are the two guys I would point out. I don't really have anything else of note. I mean,
good to see. My two things I wanted to point out were Bryce hit a couple balls really hard tonight, so that was really nice to see. And Johan also hit a couple balls hard tonight, so
you did.
That's exactly what you want to see out of him. I mean, you hit the ball hard and put it in play, it's going to start falling eventually. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, I mean, it's good, definitely good to see him kind of turning a corner a little bit. It looks like so. Hopefully he can keep a hold of that center field job and run with it.
Yeah, for sure. I think in both the Hoffman and Sir Anthony innings, granted, it wasn't like he made a diving play or anything, but just the jump he gets on, what may not be a routine fly ball for a lot of other center fielders. The acceleration he has to get to the baseball and not only get there, but then get behind the baseball and make sure that guys just don't get an easy tag up. Granted, the guy got to third base, the base runner for the Rockies got to third base on, but I thought he did a great job. He got there real quickly. Like I thought it was honestly an impressive jump he got to get to that ball in center field. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say on the lineup. The team as a whole, honestly, like that's kind of all I have, Drew. I mean, there really isn't much to take away from a game like tonight, except they shouldn't have been in extras. Let's be glad they got the win, and let's win the next two games however we can. As long as they win them, I don't care how they win them because the style points can come in later in the year, right? It doesn't have to be now, but it's definitely disappointing the way they played tonight.
Yeah, and I was just watching this thing. I was kind of zoned out there, but Johan Rojas looks like he got hurt in the celebration.
I just saw that. Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, if that's true, then I mean that would suck because I mean it seems like he's really been kind of getting going here lately, and that would kind of kill his momentum a little bit. But I mean, obviously you have Pache to step in, which would be totally fine for the short term, especially if it's obviously not going to be anything season ending more than likely. So if it is something, I mean, I think we have a short term solution anyways.
Yeah, at most I would think he's going to. I mean, I don't know what happened exactly, but
yeah, he just kind of like looked like he came up like limping a little bit. I don't really know.
Yeah. So at most I would say maybe he's not healthy for tomorrow night's game, and Pache plays. And do they get Freeland in one? I mean, that would be even crazier if Freeland was scheduled to pitch in one of these games and he was pitch running.
Let me look.
They have Gomber tomorrow, so Pache should play anyway tomorrow because it's a lefty. In my opinion, I would pitch him tomorrow, or not pitch him. I would play him tomorrow against a left-handed pitcher.
Put him in left field.
Yeah, I would put him in center, honestly.
Well, if Rojas is playing, you put Rojas in center. But
yeah, but I'm saying like if Rojas did come up limping, there's at this point in the season, like just play it safe and play Pache in center. Honestly, I think that's the best thing to do right now for tomorrow at least. But
yeah,
I don't know. I really don't have anything else to say. We can get the few comments before we wrap up here, but
works for me.
Yeah. Addison Welcome In says Pache is the best. Yeah, I mean he's been awesome. I mean, I think we all love Pache, and he's a fun player to root for too. He's a good guy. You can tell he enjoys being here as well. So, like you said, first walk-off in his career.
Yeah, he's a huge clubhouse guy for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, like Star Wars said, Nola did deserve a win tonight. He did his job. I mean, granted, there's only so much you can take away from when he pitches against the Rockies. Obviously, like you said, Drew, a little more because the conditions were actually good tonight for him in his start rather than the last couple. But that being said, he just went out and did his job and dominated. And that's what you expect from him. So oddly enough, no complaints about him. I thought maybe he would be the guy to give us some fits where we were like, why is he not pitching the way he should be tonight? Because that just seems like an on-brand Nola thing to do, even though we love him. But yeah, he deserved to win tonight for sure.
Yeah, it was a vintage Nola performance for sure. And I mean, from what I saw, he was painting that backdoor sinker. I mean, that's when you know Nola's going good because he can tunnel that curveball right off of that, and it makes guys look like they have no idea what's coming. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think it mattered who he pitched against tonight. He was on. His stuff was dancing, so it was really, really nice to see.
Definitely. Yeah. And Ethan says JT is an absolute legend. I mean, Hoffman was a legend for getting that tag too. I mean, granted it was close, but I mean, he's also taking contact there on that slide as well. I mean, Kyle Freeland slid right into him. I'm not saying it was a bad, like Freeland made a very legal slide, but
Yeah.
it's a tough play. I mean, he's right there. It's a bang bang play, and but I'm surprised Hoffman didn't even look shaken up after it. He looked calm, cool, collected. He seemed fine.
Yeah, he was bleeding a little bit. I saw.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was. Yeah, I saw he cut his finger. He had some dirt on his pants too. Like
his pants were like covered in blood there, like being after.
I was wondering if that was from the dirt or if that was the blood or a little bit of both, because I saw his finger was bleeding. But point being, he took a beating on that play. But
yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't have been able to tell it from the way he reacted. He looked like he was fine. So
he's a dog. He'll be back out there tomorrow.
Yeah, he will be. And like Sean said, give Pache some playing time over Merrifield. Or with Castellanos right now the way he's going. It'd be good to mix Pache in there a little bit more often.
Yeah, and Nick hasn't had a day off yet, so I think his time is coming.
Yeah, I don't really get the train of thought. It feels like over the last 2 years, every time Nick has been on a cold streak, the train of thought is never to give him a day off. It's to let him play through it. And granted, does that work from time to time? Sure, but I don't know. I don't see the harm in giving him a day off. I mean, for Hoskins, it was a different story just because you knew that guy was the definition of hot and cold throughout the regular season, and you knew he just needed to swing his way out of it.
Yeah,
but Castellanos, he's giving you plenty of reason to sit him at certain points the last few years.
Yeah, and most veteran guys, like you can kind of do that. You can just kind of let them go through it. Like Trey and Bryce, you're not sitting them if they're cold. I mean, you let them go out there every day and look stupid if they have to. If that's going to help them get out of it, I mean, that's just who they are. But Castellanos, I mean, he hasn't really proven himself to be that. I mean, you just give him a day or 2 days. Give him some time to reset a little bit.
Yeah, it's been rough with him the past. Last year was honestly not that bad, comparably, but
felt like he was pretty consistent through the whole regular season last year, and then he had a hot streak in the playoffs and then a cold streak. I mean,
I honestly am not super upset at him for last year. Am I upset he went cold in the NLCS? Sure, but we also
everybody else did.
And we also wouldn't have been playing the NLCS if Cassie didn't get hot in the NLDS. I mean, he literally sparked the offense in Game 3. I don't like that. I think you could hear a pin drop at a certain point in that Game 3 of the NLDS because the Braves went up first in that game, and I think everyone was like, shoot. They carried the momentum from the Michael Harris catch into Game 3. And then Game 4, he hits 2 bombs. I mean, if he doesn't hit those bombs, we probably lose that game. I mean, I'm still more upset with Kimbrel out of that whole debacle there. That's who I would still blame, and just, again, the lineup as a whole going cold in that series. But anyway, get a few more of these comments here. Yes, we are live. Welcome, Minioth. And then Sully says in his Zoom study group right now, but just wanted to pop in and say, good win. I'll take them however we can get them. Love you guys. Go Fightins. Have a good night. God bless y'all too. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. We're not wrapping up ASAP, but for you specifically, Sully, we'll see you on the next one. And Merrifield needs to start hitting like Star Wars said, and drop an elbow on the like button. We appreciate you guys. So, but that being said, Merrifield needs to start hitting. I think we kind of touched on a lot. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to touch on from today's game, Drew, or just from obviously Sunday's game? We didn't really talk about, but there was not really much to talk about, in my opinion. All I have to say on Sunday is Wheeler was dealing. Then he had one bad inning, started by the Bohm error, wall scraping grand slam, and the offense once again didn't show up. That's not a new revelation, but that's all I have to say on Sunday, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're gonna be live tomorrow night, but I mean, looking forward a little bit, the offense has to get going this week. I mean, they don't have a choice. I mean, these are 2 terrible teams with 2 terrible pitching staffs. You have to get going. I mean, you got to score 8, 9, 10 runs in a couple of these games this week, and if you don't, I would consider this week a fail no matter what, because these are 2 they're bottom dwellers. I mean, they're 2 of the worst, probably 3 worst teams in the league. So
yep. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add on that. I mean, I think that pretty much covers everything, Drew. There's really not a lot to talk about from a game like tonight where they just did not play as well as they should have, but they still got the win. I think that sums it up. But anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up here, or any other topics you wanted to touch on?
I'm not sure if you touched on it or not, but it seems like we're going to be live tomorrow night around, I think, 10:30 with Nathan Ackerman from Phillies Nation. So make sure you guys tune into that. Be there for that. It's going to be huge. Nate's a really good guy, very knowledgeable. So it's going to be a really good stream.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll be talking post-game. probably about the game a little bit, but also just things we've seen in general for the first couple weeks of the season. So that'll be a good time to get Nate's thoughts on that. They do really good work over there at Phillies Nation. If you guys don't read their stuff, definitely go read it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, if you watch us, there's probably a pretty good chance you were already reading Phillies Nation if you're a big Phillies fan. So they do a great job. They cover the team well year round. Probably, I mean, they're honestly second to none to anyone in Phillies coverage. Like they're top tier. They have a lot of good scoops. Like them and Matt Gelb and people like Alex Carr. Like there's a lot of good Phillies people. So but Phillies Nation has always been like they're so consistent. Their site is great. Nate's like Drew said, like Drew said, Nate's a great guy. He does a lot of good coverage on Twitter and TikTok, so you can check him out there. We'll talk more about that tomorrow night, but he knows his stuff and he knows what he's talking about. So we're excited to have him on. But anything else you want to say, Drew?
Nope. Everybody have a great night. We'll be there tomorrow night, live after the post game. So be there.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all of you for hopping in the stream. And we will see you guys tomorrow night. God bless y'all. Go Phils. Peace out.